I want to start by saying, obviously, Vanakkam Coimbatore. This is my favorite city in Tamil Nadu and have fond memories because I started my career as a sales manager in Hindustan. We were looking after Tamil Nadu. And I would travel 15 days in a month. And when I would go back to my home base in Chennai, my wife would ask me, which city did you go to? What did you like? And she would always wonder why I would say Coimbatore is my such a favorite city. For those who live here, I don't think I need to give an explanation why this is probably the best city to live in Tamil Nadu. So delighted to be back here today. And so before I get into the topic about growth opportunities in the post-COVID world, a quick show of hands. How many people believe that during COVID their business got affected badly? Raise your hands. During COVID, whether it got affected badly. So clearly Coimbatore is a lucky city, very few people whose business got affected badly. How many people believe that COVID gave them new directions of growth and your business went on an upward trajectory? This is clearly the city of tenacity and audacity, as Pradeep Yuvraj said. This is great to know because during COVID, one of my favorite hobbies was I would ask my friends who are business owners at online events. I would run a poll and I would ask them, during COVID, has your business got adversely affected? Has your business adversely affected but recovered? Or has your business gone into a growth trajectory which is different? It would be equally divided. So I used to call it a tripolar world. So one of my friends to whom I sent this question over WhatsApp, he responded by saying, I will not answer your question. He sent me a screenshot of his company's share price. And it had only an upward trajectory all through from March to December 2020. Guess what category that was? He was running an alcohol company. A lot of alcohol was getting consumed. So, clearly, but I think the world changed for all of us during COVID. In this room, certainly in more good ways than bad, which is fantastic, very optimistic. My own world changed during COVID because I got involved with some path-taking projects. Here's what happened. It was day 2 of lockdown 1.0, March 2020. Lockdown had been declared. Like everyone else, I was willing to put up my feet, watch Netflix, eat some good food at home, but it was not to be. Because I get this phone call I'm on the board of the startup incubator at IIT Kanpur, and I get a phone call from the professor there. He said, there are these 2 young boys who are running a robotics firm. They have their factory in Pune. Their business has come to a standstill. They run out of cash because they have to collect money from customers. With the lockdown, they can't go out and collect money. They can't go out and get more orders. And their factories are shut down. So their business is facing a dead end. But these boys have bravely raised their hand in response to the Prime Minister's call. If you remember, when COVID started, India had no masks, no PPE kits, no ventilators, nothing. So around 15th of March 2020, the Prime Minister had issued a call. Any company, any startup, if you can come up with products and services for COVID, please come forward. So these 2 young boys who are running the robotics company, they were all of 26 years old. They came forward and said, we will make an ICU ventilator for India. And mind you, these 2 boys have never seen a functioning ventilator inside an ICU ever. And they said, we will make an ICU ventilator for India. And they had created a prototype within 48 hours. Because the lockdown was on, they had taken some parts from a fish aquarium, taken some parts from a toy store and created a prototype. So this professor tells me, look, can you take a look at the prototype? And so I did. They sent me a video on WhatsApp. It seemed to be functioning. My engineering was very rusty by then, so I had to go back and look up do some Google search to catch up on valves, compressors, sensors, etc. So it seemed to be making sense. What we did was a panel of doctors from India and US, lung specialists, we got them to take a look at the prototype and talk to the boys. The doctor said, it's very rudimentary, But the underlying scientific principles are very sound. So if you support these boys, they can make that ventilator. So this was 25th of March 2020. So we said, look, if we have to make a ventilator that is world class and available on time for deployment, we have to do something very different. So on 29th March, we brought together a group of 20 experts on a Zoom call at 12 noon. That Zoom call had doctors, 4 medical technology, medical device CEOs, a manufacturing expert, a supply chain expert, product design experts. 20 people came together on a Zoom call at 12 noon on 29 March. And they kept meeting every day for the next 90 days over a Zoom call for 2 hours, 12 noon every day. And smaller groups would continue to work through the evening and night. Right? Remember, factories were shut, 60% of components are imported. How do you bring in no flights, no courier services? But magically, because 20 people came together, all the challenges went away. Within 90 days, the product got designed after many false starts. It got approved, certified by government labs. Doctors in top private hospitals, government hospitals reviewed the product, approved it. Government helped to open the factories. There was a special aircraft that brought in components from Singapore. And within 90 days, the ventilator was in the market. And today, 4,000 of those ventilators are deployed across the country. And these ventilators are as good as the best brands, but half the price, and therefore more affordable for smaller hospitals, smaller towns in the country. So that for me was a life-changing experience because I and the professor were the project leaders for the task force. I learned many things there, and I believe that the 3 lessons that I learned, which are relevant for every business, and I say this to every business audience, and to this audience, which obviously has already moved on a growth trajectory, some of these lessons may be redundant, but the first lesson was that collaboration without boundaries. You look at what used to happen before COVID. If you wanted to launch a new product, get a consultant, get experts, you would organize a physical meeting, people have to plan, travel, come together. Here there were 0 boundaries. Product designer from New York, doctor from California, people from across the country collaborating every day at 12 noon without waiting to travel. Geographies were broken, time zones were broken. Collaboration without boundaries, actually. Here's an example. That's one kind of boundary. Boundary of time, boundary of geography. But there were different kinds of boundaries that were broken. Here, Karthikeyan spoke about SMEs and startups. Unfortunate that we look at these as 2 different worlds. The world of startups has been glamorized, but the world of SMEs has not got the same kind of support. Just because a company is less than 10 years old, just because the company is believed to have a cool innovation, they're called a startup and get special benefits. How are SMEs any different? They are the original startups, right? During COVID, here's what happened. This company, Nokark Robotics, which started making ventilators, we needed to ship large quantities. They had a small factory. So, there was a collaboration set up with a Mumbai-based SME, which manufactured for them also. So look at the SME startup collaboration. Startups have bright minds coming from engineering colleges, but lack the manufacturing expertise, certainly lack the ability to manage government inspectors, etc. SMEs have done it for decades. This is a matchmaking, winning match that is possible actually. What can be better? The other kind of example I saw during COVID, and this is not to do with the ventilator, I saw other SMEs forge a new path. Remember, to do a COVID test, they insert the nasopharyngeal swab into your nose. That was all imported in India till COVID hit. And therefore, there was this SME in Mumbai called Chembond Polymers. They said, we want to make it in India. But how do you get the underlying technology? So they went to one of the CSIR labs, National Chemical Laboratory in Pune. They said, can you tell us what the technology is? So what the CSIR NCL lab did was, they got many imported pieces, reverse engineered it, and within 6 weeks, many scientists from NCL worked, and gave the technology to this SME. And this SME was in the market before Reliance and before Johnson & Johnson, who had announced it in the past. So this is another lesson of collaboration. SMBs tapping into research laboratories of India. So we have to look at a completely different way of collaborating in order to tap into this new world of opportunities. And by the way, I think TIE has a great opportunity to play a matchmaking role. Can we get SMEs and startups in the same room? Can we get government labs, SMEs and startups in the same room? And that is a matchmaking that only TIE can do. The second lesson I learned, besides collaboration, was raise your ambition level. Until this ventilator got designed in 90 days, the world assumed that it takes 18 months to move from idea to manufactured product in the market. Multinationals take 18 months to take the same ventilator to market. And we showed India can do it in 90 days. I think we have an opportunity to break every myth and say, let's raise our ambition. Why should we be number one in Tamil Nadu, number one in India? We can be number one in the world in every category, actually. That's the second lesson, raise our ambition level. Third is raise your game. Dr. Mohan Sundari spoke about product quality. To me, that is key. The reason why doctors were buying imported ventilators in the past was they did not trust the quality of ventilators made in India. They would fail. In such a high-risk, life-threatening category like ventilators, you can't take a chance. And therefore, reliability, quality is important. So we have to raise our game with respect to quality. We have to raise our game with respect to product design. I think this was, Pradeep spoke about it, design and Steve Jobs. We have to create products which are nice looking. All of us as consumers like to see cool apps. Why do you as a doctor want to see a terrible looking product in the hospital? You want a nice looking product, so design is important. Likewise, better customer service. I think all of these together, the three lessons, boundaryless collaboration, raise your ambition, raise your game, are the three lessons I took away from the ventilator project. And by the way, it's a book in the market on Amazon. It's getting made into a movie now. Hopefully the movie should be out in 2 years from now. But those are the three lessons that I took away. But fantastic to talk to this audience. Coimbatore clearly been a leader, audacity, tenacity. We'll continue to be leaders with the level of optimism that we've seen in the room. Thank you very much.